All right, as you can see, the other day we got the 216 out of the pickup truck. We did a little bit of cleanup work, basically trying to get access to a lot of the bolts and that. We didn't take a ton of time. We probably could have taken a power washer and such. We did hope that we could see a little more of the paint and such. Really all we can make out at this point is it appears that the bell housing on this may have been painted some sort of red. The block, what paint it did have on it, appears to be maybe a silver color. And then the tin looks like black, based on like right here. Looks like the valve cover and this side cover was black. And then you can just make out Thriftmaster here across the side of the valve cover. So with that, my next task is to get this bell housing off and get it on the engine stand, and then just start stripping it down for all the parts that we can reuse, and we'll go from there. So this mechanism across the back, I should have showed you before I took it off, but at any rate, what it amounts to is this is the starter button on the bottom of the, inside the cab where I had been. I told him to hit the starter, and there's physically a plunger that he pushes, and when that pushes down here, this actuates all this mechanism, and then there's a lever arm on top of the starter, and that is the solenoid. Solenoid in the sense that it just actuates or makes the contact from the positive wired through the motor. On this intake and exhaust setup, you have a separate intake and a separate exhaust manifold, but they're held down by a common bolt. So there isn't an individual. So actually here, initially it looks like this may be broken off. It may be just a dowel pin. I don't know until I get there. Again, I've never had these apart. This is actually pretty typical even into Jeep 4 liters of the 90s. The idea is to use this clamp. As you pull this tight, it's pushing the exhaust and the intake, creating that clamp load. It's just, call it an oversized washer. But I'm gonna heat in the head area here, on all, what's there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. Heat up that area, it'll just help get things loose. And I'm either gonna have to do it now or I'll have to do it later. I might as well do it now on the initial teardown. So this motor has, according to the odometer, 54,000 miles on it, which quite honestly, I can believe. Of course, the oil specs of those days was not consistent, wasn't certainly as good as it is today. So you get a lot of any kind of heat buildup, it would cook the oil, and of course you get all this baked on oil and sludginess. So progress-wise, our head is off, valve train is out, oil pan is off, timing cover obviously is off. We're at the point where we want to pull the camshaft out, and of course the lifters are stuck partway in the hole. I got some of them out, and now I'm really trying to figure out how this oil pump comes out, quite honestly. It's a pretty interesting little setup. My understanding is whenever you have these little catches on the bottom of the main rods, is that that's actually scooping oil, and that's how the rod gets oiled. Now, these were never engines that saw a lot of RPM, so low RPM, no big deal. Very similar in fashion to like a Briggs & Stratton motor that we currently use. They have a little, what they call a dipper. So that's where we're at on this. There has been a little head scratching to figure this out. I've never done one of these, as mentioned. And I probably shouldn't tell everybody that, as I'll blow my cover, but I gotta be honest. All right, so we're gonna keep working on this, see where we get. Ideas today, we want this completely tore down and off to the machine shop.